Charges filed against Hillary Clinton after a corrupt money scheme uncovered. Christine Lalia for the Gateway Pundit reports that the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC got hit with another FEC complaint on Monday. The complaint alleges that Hillary and the DNC used state chapters as straw men to go around campaign donation limits and ultimately laundered the money back to her presidential campaign. The Committee to Defend the President, a political action committee, filed its complaint with the FEC on Monday with the allegations that the Hillary Victory Fund solicited cash from big-name donors, including Calvin Klein and the Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane, money that was allegedly sent through state chapters and then back to the DNC before ending up with the Clinton campaign. In its complaint, the CDP alleges that $84 million was funneled illegally from the DNC through state party chapters and back into the war chest of the Clinton campaign. CDP counsel Dan Backer points to the SCOTUS case that first recognized this exact practice as illegal. CDP counsel Dan Backer said the scheme was a flagrant violation of a Supreme Court ruling that determined such moves were illegal and broke FEC campaign contribution rules, which state that an individual can contribute only $2,700 directly to a presidential campaign. Quote, "It appears virtually every single disbursement from HFV to a state party resulted in an immediate transfer of the same amount of funds from the state party to the DNC," said another page from the complaint. Over 99% of funds transferred through HFV to state parties wound up at the DNC, Backer stated. Now, this new FEC complaint parallels Donna Brazil's account outlined in her explosive book, Hacks, where the former DNC chairwoman alleges that Hillary took complete control over the DNC. So, stop wasting time and lock Hillary up already.
We know almost all of Mueller's team is anti-Trump. That's not big news. What is big news is Peter Strzok, the guy in that meeting who exchanged the text messages with his colleague Lisa Page, is the same guy who ran the Clinton investigation, who ran the Russian investigation, who interviewed Clinton, interviewed Mills, interviewed Abedin, changed the letter, the now famous exoneration letter, from gross negligence, a crime, to extreme carelessness. He's also the guy who interviewed Mike Flynn in the Russian investigation, picked by Mueller's team, then subsequently removed from Mueller's team. I think it's all because of this dossier. Now, I think Peter Strzok is remember Peter Strzok is the deputy head of counterintelligence. I think his fingerprints are all over this dossier, this disproven dossier that was taken to the FISA court to get the warrants.
Is it possible that this dossier was the reason, it was inspired by Democrats, paid for by Hillary's campaign? Is it possible that that was used almost as the excuse to open up the Russia thing?
I totally believe that's the case. And really, Stuart, there are two fundamental questions. Did the FBI pay Christopher Steele, the guy who wrote the dossier? And then, was the dossier used as the basis to secure the warrants at the FISA court to spy on Americans associated with President Trump's campaign? If the answer to either one of those questions is a yes, then these folks are as guilty as sin, and something happened in this country that never should take place, i.e. the FBI went after one political party's nominee.
Why is the Justice Department withholding vital documents about what really went on from you investigators?
For the life of me, I do not know. We've asked fundamental questions of Attorney General Sessions, FBI Director Wray, and the Deputy Director at the Justice Department, Rod Rosenstein. They will not answer our questions. So now it's time for subpoenas. And the Chairman of the Judiciary Committee is going to subpoena Lisa Page. He's going to subpoena Bruce Oren. He's going to subpoena Peter Strzok. And we're also going to get eventually to Andrew McCabe as well. We need those people to come in, be deposed, and then put them on the same stand that Mr. Sessions and Mr. Rosenstein sat on just in the past few weeks.
President Trump is rolling back the Obama era. All aspects of policy are being reversed. But the Obama era lives on in the Democrat Party. He moved his party to the left, and that's where it stays. In fact, it seems the socialist wing has taken over. Prime example, not a single Democrat in the Senate will vote in favor of the tax plan. They are in lockstep. It's a no on bigger paychecks for tens of millions. It's a no on growing the economy. It is total resistance to all things Trump. I'll say it again. This is not your father's Democrat Party. It may be a distant memory, but it was a Democrat president, John Kennedy, who dramatically cut taxes in the 1960s. Democrats voted for Ronald Reagan's tax cuts in the 80s, and Democrat Bill Clinton cut the capital gains tax in the 1990s. There were even some Democrats who supported the Bush tax cuts too. But today, the now far-left Democrat Party offers a unanimous no. At the moment, President Trump is unpopular, the Republicans are unpopular, and Democrats are making the political calculation that total resistance will pay electoral dividends next year. They think blanket opposition gives them a political win. Hold your horses. The elections are 11 months away, and that is an eternity in politics. If the economy gets tax cut and infrastructure juice and prosperity returns, the Democrats will go down as the party that missed the prosperity boat. Inside the FBI now testifying on their actions during the election and their involvement in the Mueller probe. All rise, Judge Napolitano is here. Now, you saw me do that editorial, and
yes.
You said, yes, you're right on the facts.
Yes, you're largely correct on the facts about
largely
who, what,
correct?
who, what, when, where.
Largely correct?
Well, I don't know that it's the grand cabal that you think. There's 8,000 FBI agents, the vast, vast majority of whom you or I would repose our lives and our fortunes in their hands.
These were the people at the top.
There are some bad apples, correct.
They were at the top.
Here's why I'm glad this is happening about Bruce Ohr. Because the FBI did have some involvement with this dossier. I believe, just from examining the public sources, that the FBI offered Christopher Steele $50,000 if he could corroborate the dossier. He either couldn't, didn't, wouldn't, and they didn't pay him the money. That's what I believe is going to come out. And when Rod Rosenstein, the number 2 person in the DOJ, was asked under oath last week, did the FBI pay for that dossier? Answer, I know the answer, but I'm not allowed to tell you. I'll talk about tantalizing. Doesn't the American public have the right to know? These are taxpayer dollars that were used if they paid for it. And if they paid for it, why? What were they doing with it?
But let's not forget, it was the DNC, the Hillary Clinton campaign arm
that started it.
That started it.
Yes.
They paid, they took over the dossier investigation. They paid millions of dollars to have it completed.
So we want to know, how did the FBI get it? What was the FBI doing with it? Did the FBI corroborate it? And were they involved with Christopher Steele, the former British intelligence agent who it is reputed authored this thing? And why don't we know about this?
No, wait, now you're missing the point. That's collusion with the Russians. Buying a dossier of dirt on candidate Trump and then pretending that it's the Trumpians who are colluding with the Russians.
I understand that argument, but we don't know who bought it from whom. Christopher Steele is not a Russian. Do I have to remind you of his nationality?
I'm an American, so I don't care.
Okay, so he's a Brit and still a Brit.
You don't think there's anything to this? Look, I do. There's a cabal. It's a conspiracy.
I don't
nothing
know.
there?
I don't know that I've seen enough evidence that it rises to that level. However, the questions that I just asked, I'm dying for an answer. What was the FBI doing with this? Did the FBI offer to pay for it? Why is the FBI getting involved in this kind of salacious rumor mongering intended to disrail the presidential candidacy of then Mr. Donald Trump? That's not what we hire and pay an FBI to do.
Right. I agree with you.
So we have come around to agree.
Yes, we have. And on this in particular instance, you are right. What on earth was the FBI doing with this?
And that's why when Rod Rosenstein said, I know the answer, but I'm not telling you, I would have grilled him and subpoenaed an answer out of him. Because the American public has the right to know. Just like this secret interrogation of Bruce Ohr tomorrow or today, whenever it's happening, and Andrew McCabe tomorrow. Why behind closed doors? A Democrat will come out and give his version, a Republican will come out and give her version, and we, the American people, are treated like children. They can see the transcript of this, and we can't. We're paying for all this.
Well, that was good, Judge, and you ended on a good note there, son. Well done.
I think the Russia collusion delusion was started because the DNC and Hillary needed an excuse for why they lost the election, and this is the beautiful boomerang of it all. They used Russian-sourced propaganda, fake news, to target Donald Trump, the candidate. James Comey then used that fake file to brief the president, and then he leaked it. He leaked it to create the office of the special prosecutor in the personage of none other than his best buddy, Robert Mueller. If you read this in a Tom Clancy novel, Stuart, you'd say, this is outrageous. There's no way this could happen in real life. We have senior law enforcement trying to take down a duly elected president of the United States.